Welcome to The People I Know, a philosophical podcast with and about the diverse people I've met over the years as an African American female thinker, dog lover, aerialist, and many other things. Today's guest is photographer, videographer, and veteran Eric Greaves. I hope you enjoy.
Eric Greaves, I'm a photographer, videographer, sometimes video editor, and never a photo editor. Live in South Florida where it's never cold but always wet, and that's really about it. Still the same. Say, I guess what's the word? What's the word you described me as at one point? Egotistical.
Oh, did I? Why would, in what context would I have called you that?
Our first introduction probably wasn't the most pleasant, but
we've remained in contact because I put that first introduction out of my head, I think. I think that's what happened. But I could see it. I could see it. You're very sure of yourself. So but yeah, so we met in art school doing video work, indeed.
Actually, you helped me pass 2 classes.
Oh, okay.
You don't remember the 2 videos you did for me and everything?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember those. I didn't think I was helping you to pass a class, but I guess, we had to work together. So we helped each other. Yeah.
Well, that was, but yeah, I passed the class because of you. So thank you. If I haven't said thank
you. You're welcome. And thank you. Because I was actually rewatching one of my videos, and I was like, oh yeah, we did work together. You totally helped me out with my music video. One of my favorite things I've done in my life. So
I'm surprised you haven't done more.
Yeah. Maybe we can get to that. So so this is the season of Black folks. You're one of the Black folks I know. And so the big question is, why and when does being Black matter for you? Why is it important, either personally or professionally?
Personally or professionally, why Black is important to me? Well, I'm gonna start with the professional. Why being Black is important to me is because Black people as a whole are just generally creative, expressive, and entrepreneurs, if I can use that as a word. Unfortunately, as a professional, Black professional, we don't as Black people don't always understand Black professionalism at its best. We know it because we can get jobs and high level jobs, but as far as like the Black professionalism where we own stuff, more of our own stuff, I should say. I'm gonna use Prince as the example. Prince, when he died like 3 years ago, and they're still fighting over his estate. But Prince was one of the most prolific musicians in the world, and had an understanding of business that was far greater than anybody else. But yet his family's still fighting over the estate. So that's a part of the professionalism I question. Being Black is personally, when you get past some of the top layers of being a Black person to the world, you're very, we're very loving people. We're forgiving. We're giving. I have yet to meet a Black person who hasn't tried to feed me yet.
True.
When you get past that top layer, it's just we're loving people. Just in general, we're loving people.
What do you think is how did you describe that top layer? What is the kinds of things that you're referring to?
I would say people's perspectives. Other people's perspective of ourselves. Black people, we have perspectives of ourselves that we should be this at all the time.
Like have a strong facade, like not.
I don't know about a strong, but I guess the word swagger is the word, that comes to my mind. There's always got to be some kind of swagger. I believe most people are best expressive when they're just relaxed and calm and cool. You know,
Mm-hmm.
of course, Tupac said it best. You know, we all should share some weed and just be happy. Basically, I'm taking it out of context. You know, but he said it best. You know, we should, we all should smoke a little weed and relax, just to chill out.
Yeah. I there's a few things in that, but I like how you said that. Not met a Black person yet who not try to feed me. Yeah. Gonna have to think real hard on that one. And if you do know a Black person who has not tried to feed you, then maybe you're not good with them. There may be a problem.
You've done something wrong. You've pissed somebody off somewhere. You know.
Yeah.
If they're not inviting you into the house to have a drink or have some food.
Yeah.
You know, you may have pissed somebody off somewhere down the road, but
yeah.
I mean, but we're loving, we're giving. I mean, if we don't have it, we're still trying to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
mm-hmm.
so. But as far as the profession goes, I like, as a group, I don't think we understand it on a level of complete ownership yet. And as far as personal, like I said, we're forgiving and we're loving, and there's a overlying description of us that comes with it. So.
Well, using your Prince example, do you think are you saying that, like, so Prince knew a lot of things? Just as a blanket statement, he was a brilliant man, but that knowledge and his experience and all of his skills did not kind of like wasn't spread out to the people close to him, and that's why they're fighting now over his
I would
stuff.
say his family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know his family structure.
Mm-hmm.
But I know he was very reserved, and in being reserved, he probably wasn't very communicative in his workings. Because they just found a vault, of 2,000 songs that they're trying to figure out how to release. I don't think in his case, I'm saying, like, because he understood ownership of his music. Mm-hmm. He understood ownership of the music in the business. I don't think he translated ownership of the estate itself, like the value of Parsley Place in its whole entirety. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where the idea of the fight over the estate is coming from.
So when does being Black, when is it less relevant in your life?
Bills.
Less important.
Bills. Doesn't matter what color you are when it comes to bills. I mean, they got to get paid one way or another.
Yeah.
But less relevant. I can't see how we're being Black is irrelevant.
Excuse me. And asking this question with a lot of folks, it's ended up being kind of the hardest question that I ask, because, like, wait, I've never thought about, like, when my being Black just isn't relevant, because it's we can't separate ourselves from it. Like,
no,
my skin is I woke up Black today, so
yeah, I mean, that's my first introduction to anybody. It's Black skin. Mm-hmm. Black skin, Black male, then human in some cases. Mm-hmm. It's not human, Black man, and then, or it doesn't work that way. It's identity. All the way across the board, it's identity. So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know really how to answer that question other than how I just did. So
yeah. Hopefully. And I mean, I'm not like trying to insult you or anything, but you're not a small guy. So, like, as far as identity goes, like, you're a big Black guy. So do you feel that any different where you are now in your life than like 10 or 20 years ago? Or does it feel the same? Do you feel like things have changed in the US? Or
only difference for me now is that I'm 20 years older than when I was skinnier. When I was skinny, I posed more of a threat, supposedly, because I was a young Black male. And of course, the whole idea of being a young Black male means I could produce more. I was still of age and all that good stuff to be able to produce children per se. which is the common threat.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm still a threat. It's just I'm not a threat in what would be the common way of, like, they see me walking down the street. Oh, it's a black guy. Let me lock my door. You know, oh, it's a black guy with gray hair.
Mm-hmm.
He's not really going to do anything.
Mm.
I'm like, well, you know, black anger doesn't go anywhere. It's not really a problem. So, you know, if I was mad when I was in my 20s and my 30s, I'm probably still mad in my 50s. Only difference is I know how to play the game with you a little better, because now I know not to go after the physical, but I go after the financial.
I see. It's definitely something I hadn't considered. Because I mean, if I am looking at people, if as a woman I'm looking at guys as being imposing, no matter skin color, it's mostly going to be, oh, I feel intimidated because this guy's a lot bigger than me. But that's a really good point that people have, that a perspective that people have, where they might feel more threatened by a younger person for all kinds of reasons, and less threatened by somebody who's older, visibly seems older because of like gray hair. But yeah, black anger is black anger. Which doesn't help the case. I mean, you're a good guy. You're not walking around trying to just like beat people up and be an angry black man.
Well, yeah, I'm still an angry black man. I just learned a long time ago how to not suppress it, just use it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
which moves into my next question about philosophy and critical thinking. And perhaps you can take the critical thinking aspect of this. How do you find that to be relevant or useful or important in your life?
Well, I learned critical thinking from a young age. You know, I was always one of the few black kids in certain environments, so I had to learn how to critically think my way through a lot of situations. I got better at it when I took some courses, but what really taught me was chess. I learned how to play chess, and the chess masters will always tell you you have to be 3 moves ahead of the next player. Well, if the next player knows how to play the game better than you, they've already anticipated what you're going to do. Right. So critical thinking isn't just about conflict resolution. It's about, I guess, personal evolution. If you use it that way, you know, if you know you're going to go into because, okay, for example, I introduced myself as a news photographer. Well, a news photographer, no one likes to see them unless it has something to do with some kind of fun activity, right? 99% of the time you see a news photographer, something bad has happened. Guaranteed. All right. If the police aren't there, the people who are there then now turn their anger on who's holding that camera, which is me. Now, you can't fight a city block in many cases, right? Right. You can't fight the system. I was in a catch-22. I would 99% of the time I was being sent into a black neighborhood to cover a black crime, right? To tell a story about how black crime is affecting the black community, right? 9 out of 10 times. But then I'm being sent in a hostile situation 9 times out of 10 with a white reporter who got it in their head, okay, excuse me, I'm a reporter, I know everything. I'm like, no, you need to watch your environment and see what's going on. Because the person that's over here to my left is watching you saying, oh, you go ahead and put that camera down for 5 minutes. I'm going to get it, right? Another person's an emotional person because now that's the family member I'm trying to get information from in reference to what may have happened, right? Now I have the news station who's telling me, don't come back in here without a story. So it was always that situation always puts you in a sense of conflict because you're always, how do you approach somebody with empathy and understanding and try to get them to explain that pain so people can understand it. So you maybe they can finally maybe get justice, or they can find some form of relief, or people can just understand the situation beyond the news itself, right? And still be able to present it to a news station within a 3-minute format, so everyone can watch it, view it, and so that conflict resolution, it helped over the years as far as doing a job like this. It didn't help when I was working in the government because the government's, governs the government.
Right.
It's the pink paper, the white paper, the blue paper, and then if someone signs it, then it's the white paper.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? The bureaucracy part of it. So
Mhm.
we're conflict resolution does not matter in situations like that.
Yeah, that critical thinking. There's so many layers of it for your
Yeah,
your
and
work. It
it's
sounded like.
and then there's of course the one-on-one. There's me and you. I know you're a critical thinker. Now I can still crack jokes on you, but I have to be aware of when I'm doing it
Yeah.
and how I'm doing it. Whereas,
Yeah.
okay, the random guy on the street may not understand, or I may not understand the line of communication between us. Is it evolving into something violent? Is it a miscommunication? You know, how do you resolve that in a matter of seconds,
Mhm.
right? So, with that being said, I'm gonna sort of move away from the context where I am to say the same, but I understand where the police are in certain scenarios when they have to respond within seconds. All right. But they're not trained in the context of on conflict resolution because if they were, they wouldn't be so eager to pull a gun and shoot somebody,
Mhm.
you know, without having a legitimate reason. So conflict resolution, like you said, has different layers, and it depends on what you learn, how you apply it, and where you apply it, and whom you apply it to. As
Mhm.
a black man, it's not expected for me to have conflict resolution capabilities. It's just not expected. Most white people look at me and say, "Oh, well, he's an angry black guy. He's not comprehensive. Oh, he's not understanding what I'm trying to get done."
Mm.
Versus, I understand exactly what you want me to do. I know what it is. I know how it is I'm supposed to do it. Problem is, you won't let me do it. You keep
Mm.
handcuffing me.
Mm.
So with that being said, again, it's the layers. How many layers do you understand, and who are you dealing with? Are you dealing with an individual, or are you dealing with an entity? And if you're dealing with, both, how do you make it work to your advantage?
Mhm.
So
That seems like a really important piece. Um, is I don't say especially for us adults, but I mean we're adults, so I don't have a lot of youths in my lives these days. So I'm not completely familiar with things that people under or in their 20s or under their 20s deal with. But yeah, if we don't know that we're dealing with an entity as opposed to an individual, then we're going to get ourselves into a lot more trouble than perhaps we anticipated. We're going
mhm.
to, just set ourselves up for failure that we don't want. And if we think we're dealing, or if we understand that we are dealing with an individual, then yeah, we can maybe try and understand things about that individual in order to get 3 moves ahead of them, in order to, resolve a situation easier, better, or make, just the day at work better, whatever that might be. Um, yeah, I mean, with your work and going out like into the field where you are dealing with individuals and a community and your work entity plus an individual who is not from the community at all. I mean, that's so many different layers of trying to, you know, be critical and think through. Okay, which of these pieces apply here, which are not relevant, which do we need to just like hold on to for the drive home and explain what was going on here. There's a lot of stuff there. I think it's important to that you've highlighted. Again, reflecting on past you, do you feel like you were better or worse at doing these kinds of? Do you feel like your critical thinking skills are any better or worse than they were when you were younger?
I didn't think when I was younger, so yeah, I'm probably much better off now.
Okay.
I wasn't much of a critical thinker when I was younger. Didn't have to. Didn't have
Mm.
to. Um, because my thing when I was younger, I was into sports. I mean, it was go home, do my homework, run the streets, play basketball, football, baseball. You know, that was my line of conflict at the time. So I didn't really, if I could relate to you in sports, we were cool. Older means responsibilities, and responsibilities usually require money. And money tends to be a trigger of all forms of things, because the famous saying is money is power, power is money, and that sort of thing. If you don't have one or the other, you don't really have anything. As I'm older, I've learned a lot more. I've learned a lot more things of how to handle money better, how to treat people a little better. Was just looking into volunteering to a boys group, so it doesn't make sense to have the information and not be able to share it with somebody. So, I don't know. Did I answer that question? I think I veered off.
Yeah. Well, only slightly, but you're coming back around. Because my last piece with the critical thinking is that if you could offer any information or advice to other people, specifically to other Black men, when it comes to having these skills, honing these skills, doing something with these better thinking skills, what would it be? And you've spoken a little bit. You just pointed to it. Share it with other people.
Well, I mean, I have friends who have been very good about sharing critical thinking things with me, especially when I get hot headed. Because my history with the VA and my injuries, and again, that goes back to the critical thinking. I had to learn how to deal with what I call the empire, right? And still learn how to deal with people who may be stormtroopers, right? And so I had to learn how to share that information with other men, and then receive information from other soldiers and other vets, because not everyone in the VA is horrible or out to get you or trying to keep you from getting benefits. But all it takes is that one person within the entity who will block you off from something that's much needed. Like my issue was pain management. Well, nobody's friendly when they're hurting. I mean, when you're in constant pain, and critical thinking is probably not the first thing that comes to mind when walking into the VA.
Right.
How do I outsmart the doctor to sign a piece of paper that's going to get me the outside care that I want, or how do and now I take this, like, I used to be a football coach some years ago. Well, I despise the sport now, almost. I still love watching the games on Sundays. I still love watching the artistry and the creative nature of the game, of the players in the game. But I hate what it's done to people. Like, if you don't become a football player, you're nothing. And I was talking to I can't say a friend yet, an associate, but I'm going back to sharing, because I asked him, how do I volunteer with your organization? It's called the 100 Black Men. It's a nationwide organization. I didn't know that. I thought it was just based out of New York, but it's nationwide. I asked, how do I volunteer? And I made a comment. He says, make that same comment again. I'm like, what comment did I make? What did I say? I wasn't, it didn't click in that I'm saying something of importance to the man. I just said, I want to come shoot the events. And he's like, well, no, we need men like you. I'm like, I don't, but what did I say?
Yeah.
All I know is I said something that was relevant to what he needed, and I just want to go volunteer. I just wanted to go shoot the events. I just want to, still have the passion to shoot photography and everything like that, and but somehow or another I managed to talk my way into being a speaker, and I'm like, I don't do that. I know this is going to be seen by more than you, but I don't see those people. So I just see you. But now somehow or another he's trying to work it out where I'm supposed to be a speaker for a group of boys, and I'm like, I don't have any kids. How do I speak to a group of boys? I I never bothered to stop long enough to have sex to procreate like most men do. I just kept on going, you know. You know,
some critical thinking in that too. But
yeah, I mean, like, how do you not stop to do that? You know,
yeah.
it's, you know, but you know what I'm saying. It's just, I wanted to, because obviously, you know, at Art Institute how competitive it was, and what, you know, if you had to stay up at the school, sometimes if you slept in a parking lot just to be able to get in the building to get your work done, didn't leave you much room for a lot of things, you know.
Right.
The occasional French fries that from downstairs. And you remember the French fries?
Oh, I miss those fries. I had not thought about it until right now. You said that, I was like, oh.
Yeah, don't you know those French fries, especially when they came right out of the fryer, and it's like that's the only thing you had all day. And,
yes.
Yeah. So, so you know, it's like I said, a lot of things just didn't dawn on me what I let pass by me to pursue this interest. And you know, now that I have the knowledge, you know, I have the knowledge. I got to find a way to get it out, you know, because my passion has always been photography. Always been photography. How many times have I ever asked you step in front of my camera?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm in California right now. Damn, girl. I mean, when did you leave? Okay. You know what? I'm coming to California. I'm in Nevada now. When did you leave? Now you say, okay, you know, you understand, you know, so you know I'm passionate about it, right? So, you know, because I've always been about telling the stories. Well, how do you translate that passion, that understanding to somebody who's 15 to 21 and have understand that your passion, not mine, but your passion is what's going to get you through your life. You know, it doesn't have, if you can't, so what if you don't make the NFL? Become a personal trainer, become a doctor, work with the NFL that way, right? You know, like a lot of people don't like the idea of people becoming teachers. Well, okay, then don't look at it as being a teacher. Look at it as being an informer, right? Change the name if you got to.
Being a coach.
Exactly. You know, but understand what you're coaching. You're not coaching people to play football. You're coaching them how to live life, how to work within a team, how to operate as a star player within a team, but not leave your team behind you. You know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things out there I'm still trying to figure out how to do. You know, God willing, I'll make 100 years old and I'll be able to get as much information out. God willing. But somewhere in there, I'll hopefully become like Gordon Parks, where my work will actually recognize and it will be legendary, and people will say, "Okay, that's Eric. That's his work." You know.
Yeah.
But you know, but it all boils down to for what you're saying as far as the sharing, the conflict resolution stuff. What it boils down to is understanding someone else's passions, their beliefs, not trying to change them, not trying to convince them that theirs is wrong. You know. Not allowing someone to come into your life and do the same to you, but figure out a way to how to put the two together and build and construct and create and something similar. You know, you heard of the rapper Big Mike from Atlanta? I think his name is Big Mike.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he joined. I can't remember the people's name, but he opened up his own bank.
Okay.
Right. Now, if more Black people can work together like that, you know, okay, maybe you don't have the finances to own your own bank, but you have enough knowledge to run. You know, you have enough business knowledge to run a shop that's funnily sound for you and your household. You know, that's information that we need to learn how to share.
Right.
So,
I'm going to butcher what you said just a few minutes ago, and it was beautiful, and I'm definitely going to keep it once I do the edit. But your passion is going to get you through life. That is like so succinct and so true and so easy to forget. My last question is about existential dilemmas, and so.
Well, you know, that's a big word. That's a big word.
So we're talking about things. So existential, we're just talking about our existence and our life. And then dilemmas or crises that challenge our life. So of course, this last year.
We're talking about okay. That's all you had to say. You were talking about algebra. That's all you had to say.
Yeah, right. So as far as crises, like fundamental life crises that happen to people or happen on a regular basis that kind of challenge your purpose or challenge somebody's understanding of what their purpose is. What do you have to say about that? Do you have any advice, any additional advice? Do you have any words of wisdom?
Pass algebra. That's it. Pass the college algebra 1 and 2, and let's move on to chemistry and geometry because it's easier after that.
It's
It's
easier
all
after
angles.
that.
Yeah, it's all angles. You know, it's not the thinking process and purpose. Because now when you talk about purpose, you're moving into content. You're moving into possible religion. And not everyone believes in religion, and or even if it's religion. I sort of moved in. I still believe in God, but I sort of broadened that God thing to the universe thing now. But as far as what's the word again? The algebra word you were using? I'm sorry.
Existential.
Yes, algebra. See, I can't even say it. We're just going to use the word algebra as a substitute for now.
Okay,
Fair
that's
enough?
fine. That's fine. I
Okay.
failed algebra once. I barely passed it the second time. I feel you.
Good. Purpose. Again, everyone has a purpose. Everyone has a purpose. All right. Everybody has a purpose. If you made it, again, this is one of them philosophies I took. We are one of a billion sperms that made it. We went to, if we made it past that, we have to be. We made it past the 9 months, right? And you made it to this point of your life, wherever you are, whatever stage, whatever age you are, you have a purpose. There is a purpose for everybody. Now, can you lose your purpose? Yeah. Can you refine your purpose or get redirected to another purpose? Yeah. But everyone has a purpose. I mean, it's just life ain't about drinking and getting high all the time. It's just something you got to do. Like with COVID. I mean, people got to pack boxes. They ain't just the people who drive the trucks in, or the people or the you got the people who have the need are the ones who are going in line. All right. And the same people who have a need are the same ones packing the boxes, unloading the trucks, loading the trucks. So everyone has a purpose, but I believe the overall purpose is just to be able to help each other out. I mean, just regardless of what it is, everyone's human. Everyone goes through something.
Yeah.
Just figure out a way to help somebody. You don't have to help the world, just the person next to you, if they're willing to take the help. Now when you become a billionaire, then you go ahead and help the
more
world.
People.
Huh?
Yeah, you can help more people if you're a billionaire.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you can be aware that you can help more people. Most billionaires don't actually help people. Come on now, we know. Warren Buffett.
I won't be interviewing any billionaires on this podcast.
We don't know that. We don't know that. That's how that's how billionaires are billionaires, because no one knows that they are until they make some kind of major move.
Yeah.
Only reason why we know about Warren Buffett is because he buys the companies. He doesn't invest in the stock.
Yeah.
Right. Warren Buffett doesn't really help people per se. He'll say, "I like this stock," right? And instead of saying, "Okay, I'm going to invest in a stock so people can afford to buy it,"
I see what you're saying.
He'll
just buy it up.
Yeah, he buys the whole company. So when me and you decide to come around and get our, 1 or 2 shares, we're looking at a $50, $60 share for $50, $60 for one share.
Yeah.
And he's still pulling in. See, that's not really helping nobody. Yeah. I can see what Tesla's trying to do, although he's still benefiting from it with the Bitcoin stuff, but he's still benefiting. But who would be our version? I would have said Al Sharpton, but since he no longer runs the streets no more, he is now an analyst on, I can't say the network, because that prevents us from both being sued.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you.
yeah, he was that person where he would go out there and fight with you or fight for you about something, but I don't see any comparisons right now that we have that can say this large entity is helping us, this entity. So all we got is each other. So you help me, I help you. You know, my car runs to the gas, you push it. Your car runs to the gas, I push it. You know.
Yeah.
You know, you decide you want to do a music video, and I said I can't stand you because my knees hurt. You know.
Sorry about that, man. I it's actually my last like unofficial question is like, how's your body doing these days?
Oh, well, no.
Because you're a Black man and you're a Black photographer, and this is important to the women in my life because I know a lot of pole dancers, I know a lot of dancers, I know a lot of women in the entertainment industry, and something has been like going around. So basically, there's some shady photographers out here, out in the world, and as somebody who's been doing your thing for a while, I just want to know if you have any words of wisdom for, and we can tie this back to critical thinking, words of wisdom for guys, especially Black men who are in a position to do some really cool shit. You get to work with some really beautiful women doing some really awesome things. But do you have any words of wisdom for them to, I don't know, not be douches, not be problematic?
Douches. Well, I figured that word's gonna come up eventually. Douches.
Douche. Like, because I don't categorize you as that. I mean, I'm really good. I've always been good at like, standing up for myself, setting boundaries and being clear, like asking a lot of questions, being clear about what your intentions are, like as somebody that, I was working with and all that. But, and so part of the reason that I was in art school is so that I could figure out how to do this stuff myself so I wouldn't have to reach out. But there's some really brilliant, I mean, you're a talented artist, you're a talented photographer. There's some really talented male photographers out there who just happen to be doing some problematic things. So any words to put out there?
Things.
Or do you have any perspective, any opinions on this? Do you know what I'm referring to? Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you you know why some guys might find it at the time to be shady when they're working with beautiful subjects?
Well, sometimes it's only when you get close to them, but camera tends to draw.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's two sides of it. There's always two sides, or maybe three to this particular thing. Would you talk to me if I didn't have the camera in my hand? Are you trying to get something? Are you trying to get something from me for free? Because I actually had to put together a questionnaire for clientele because I needed to know what they wanted my images for. Because people don't understand that yes, you may have a physical copy, but I still own the copyrights on that copy. I've had people take images and not give me photo credit for it and get jobs. They come from Miami, they go to New York to get a job, and now they're smacking a magazine somewhere. And no mention of Eric Greaves or My Third Eye Media saying, hey, this is the guy who took my picture down here, go look him up. So it kind of goes both ways. It's not really a one-sided thing. There's some shadiness on both sides. I've heard of some stories. I'm not necessarily going to share those stories because I don't know how true they are. But I've heard of the harassment or the douches part that men would do. Where
the douchery.
The douchery, yes. And then I've heard of the, what's a good word to use in
swindling? No.
Well, swindling is a good choice of words. Okay. All right. Well, I know some photographers who had sex with models right? Because that was a controlling factor, right? No narcissistic bullshit, that kind of stupid shit. But I've also known models that have sex with photographers to be able to get their photo shoots done. So like I'm saying, it goes both ways. And what I'm noticing now a lot of is it's a lot of women photographers are taking the slots of men anyway. So whatever douchery is happening, it's happening at a very minute level as far as men and women go. That doesn't imply that women and women aren't doing the same thing. It's just we're not hearing about it just yet. I mean, if you want to do business, contract, releases, a questionnaire as to what does the client want from you? How do they plan on using it? How often do they plan on using it? Will they require more copies? Just go by the book. That's all I can say. Go by the book. If you have to touch a model, ask permission. All right. Always, say I have, there's something that's out of place. Can I fix it? If they say no, try to point them out, or at least take a picture of it so they can see it and they can fix it themselves. Yeah, there's times when I tell models, step away from me. You can't look in the camera. You're not allowed to look. You're not allowed to look into you're not allowed to see the images until a complete payment is made, and or at least I've seen them myself, so I'm not looking at something that might be out of focus, blown up, but it's clean on the camera. Again, that goes back to what I said very early in the beginning about our understanding of professionalism, and
right. Yeah, no, and I think you've definitely addressed what I'm asking. Again, because I know a lot more women than I know men, and I know a lot more dancers, aerialists, entertainers, people in sex workers, just people on this side of you, people doing pretty things that need some documentation of those pretty things, of those awesome things, than I know of the other side. So what I see, these conversations that I have had with some women is that, there are photographers who will overstep some boundaries as far as professionalism goes. Just like as a general, you're supposed to be here to take my picture, not to touch me. But you say something very important here that, okay, sometimes there are times where the photographer needs to adjust, something needs to be adjusted. I mean, that's just, if you've ever done a photo shoot, that is just something that happens. And so the fastest way to make sure that we're on the same page is just, hey, can I touch you to move this thing? Plain and simple. Just takes a half a second to do. It takes 2 seconds to do. And then also,
but honestly, before you move on, I'm sorry, but that's actually a complicated question. As a male to a female client, that is a very complicated question, because the next question usually will reply, what are you going to touch? And why are you going to touch?
I mean, and that's we have our words, like your strap is here, or your necklace is like this, or it just needs to be. But then the next thing you said is just take a picture. This is the thing that is off. Do you want it like that, or do you not want it like that?
That is a learned lesson. That's a learned lesson. So,
spreading the knowledge.
When I shoot women, I actually insist on having a female assistant present. I really, even with males, I request it, and I say, look, those people say, well, I like to have my boyfriend or my girlfriend show up. Now, if I'm shooting a female model and her boyfriend's there, and then he's getting into trying to direct me how to shoot his girlfriend, I've learned some things about just give him a reflector, say hold it like this, and Now I know I can't see the reflection, but he doesn't know that, right? But it gets him to shut up long enough for me to do what I have to do, right? And vice versa. When it's a girlfriend trying to direct the boyfriend, right? I have to listen because she knows what she likes about him. But how do I know what she likes about him is going to sell to, say, another woman? Because that's the whole objective, right? Men and women who take pictures are trying to sell something, right? That's the whole idea.
Right.
So usually what I have to do is I hate to sound like I'm being misogynistic when I do this, but I usually send the girlfriend off to get soda, water, coffee, something, and I send them to the furthest point away, just so I can get this person to concentrate on me. right? Sorry. Yeah, because I'm selfish. All right, I'm very selfish. You cannot take my time and then be occupied with side note or side chair quarterbacks. Can't do it. Like for example, you're talking about the people who do the wonderful artistry. Well, I can't get to them. I can't get to them. There's half a dozen down here who won't let me do any work because I am a man. All right. Has nothing to do with my talent, my skill level, or it's because I'm flat out a man. Nope, can't do it. Nope. I'm like, well, okay. So I see a lot of the work, all right? Because in down here there's always obviously wherever you go, there's always the elites, then there's the ones who work really hard, and then the ones who are trying to learn how to get there. Right? I didn't make it to elite yet, because if I did, you'd have seen all my work by now. Right? So I'm still in that area where I'm working and competing with everybody. But to give an example, one female photographer just sucked. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. She flat out sucked because she didn't understand the lighting. She didn't understand how to, if you're gonna shoot someone flying up above you, that means you have to get below them, right? To be able to show that they're on a pole, that they're spinning around. You want to be able to show. You have to show the ceiling. You have to show the mirrors. You have to know how to get the light to reflect. Had no clue on how to do that. So I said, I said to her, look, if you got 5 minutes, I can show you how to make your pictures a little better by pointing your flashes in different places, right? You use the mirrors as a reflector versus using a reflector. And you can still be able to see the face. You can still, she got highly offended. Okay. Right. I did the same thing with a young man. I said, there's some things I'm seeing in your pictures that you need to adjust. And there's no reason for you to wait to get to Photoshop to do it. You can take care of it now. He got offended. Right. So, and we both know this, artists are we're very, what's the word? Bitchy.
Okay. Yeah. That's on the list. Yeah.
Bitchy. Yeah. We're all the same. We are all the same. Don't tell me how to do this because this was my idea, right? Don't show me how to do this because what makes your way better than my way? I'm not saying my way is better. I'm saying it can make it look a little better, But we're all temperamental, But the whole point of this is that I think I can outshoot anybody on the planet, to include the elites, if given the right opportunity to do so, right? And I'm sure there's the younger ones coming up behind me saying the same thing. I can outshoot anyone here, right? If given the opportunity. Sometimes, sometimes particularly your friends who work in that the pole dancing and you said aerial stuff, right? Aerial.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes he or she's got to give options to both sides, because both men and women do not see the same thing. Right.
Right.
Men will see the figure. Men will see the figure and the shapes moving around. Women might see the elegance and the beauty of because we don't see the same thing. Right.
Right.
Because if I saw you on a pole, I know how to shoot you on a pole because I've shot you before. Right. I know you're strong. I know you like to bend, and I know how long you can hold yourself in position upside down because I've seen it and I've watched you do it. Right. Well, if no one's ever done that, no one's ever watched you perform, how are they going to know how to anticipate what you're going to do?
Right.
So I would say to your friends who are trying to be clients to these photographers, loosen up, right? Somebody's gonna have to touch you one way or another. Just make it clear. Don't touch me in a way I don't feel appreciated or feel as respectful. Make it clear, right? As a photographer, but we can't get our portfolio until you give us a chance to shoot it, right? Because if we can't shoot it, then we're gonna charge you some outrageous price, and then all of a sudden you can get something back you don't like anyway because we don't know how to shoot it because we never got the chance to shoot it when we asked you for practice. So, that's all. Just it's in the end, you're trying to tell a story. So lighten up. Not everyone's trying to touch you sexually. Some people may just have gentle hands, and that's how they touch people. Me, I'm a little rough. I like to move you around. All right. You know, there's some
Legit.
people who,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but that's it. And then, you know, lighten up, shut up, and move on.
Mm-hmm. So thank you. Thank you for that. And what I'm hearing, what I'm going to take away from that and is, yes, definitely some lightening and loosening up can happen as far as an understanding of what is happening or what might need to. Also on both ends, a little bit of tightening up. So from both ends, make sure we have clear expectations on both sides. And if that means an actual physical piece of paper that we are outlining what is and is not to happen in this shoot, then that's what needs to happen. A conversation at minimum about what is and is not to be expected, all that kinds of stuff. And also the tightening up on both ends of just focus on the job. That's the professionalism that bring it back to the beginning. Black folks, we need to be a little bit better at that. We are trying to do some work. So don't be distracted by whatever the hell else you think you're wanting to be doing that has nothing to do with the work. So that's what I'm taking away from what you said.
Yeah, that's a nice shortened version of it. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, no, the details are important as well because your experience is different than mine for sure. Is there anything else that you would like to share that we have not covered, that we have not gotten to now that you have this space?
Can I small plug for anybody who might need photography?
Of course.
You know, Eric Greaves, great photographer, if I must say so myself. Reasonable pricing, competitive. I don't have a studio so I have to charge you for that. I shoot almost anything. You have to be questionable about anything nowadays. And say Joy sent you, and I'll give you a discount. So this is not
and
in
you
South
are
Florida.
In South Florida.
South Florida, Miami-Dade, Palm Beach County. You know, and say Joy sent you, and you get a discount. My third eye media. That's the email. That is the actual website. Okay. I haven't been posting anything on Instagram lately. I just haven't been paying attention, but I still have the Instagram page. Okay. And the telephone number is 954-632-5432.
And thank you so much for your time. And
thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Not likely, but you know how that works. But we'll work on that.
Talk to you sooner than later.
Bye, my dear. Have a good one.